Hey guys, here is the gear. We have a Pella blade in the supply, virtually a version 1.2, 1.0 of their single edge. And it's a stainless steel version. It's a on loan to me from Michael Friedberg. How generous is he? I have not yet tried the Pella blade, which is the same as the Personna blades for the Injector. It's just a different name. It's been put on the same blade, Ted Pella, and I think it's like bulk packaging or something like that. And I didn't know that for a long time. Iniquity for him, as you probably saw, is the Stirling soap for today. It is still, I think, January, and this January 2022 is the 10th anniversary of Stirling soaps, and they represent such a great value and so many other great positive qualities to the shaving community. I'm just really enjoying running through a bunch of Stirling products, and I'll probably go into February. I'm just going to use up as many as I see that I feel like bringing to you guys, right? This is one that was on the, I believe it was not the 2021 seasonal release, but 2020. And Iniquity for him, it's a dupe of a cologne. I forgot to look it up before the shave today. And so you can look down in the description to see exactly which one. I don't think it's Fahrenheit because I think that is Alighieri that Stirling did. And so it's something else. Iniquity, involves sin and that sort of thing. And so the name is probably, some of you guys who know colognes probably already know what it is, even if you don't know Stirling soaps. There's Iniquity for her as well, I think. I really like the scent here. It's a typical cologne kind of scent, kind of unisex. Nothing really popping out in terms of bitter or super sharp. Just kind of smooth and enjoyable. Kind of like the Scarn, which I think was Sauvage. Um, and I'm enjoying the scent here. And the other thing that I've been flopping around here is the Zenith, and this is the horse brush. And it's extra soft, and it's their nice barber type handle, and this is the horse bristle. For those of you who might find the whole badger thing to be a little bit upsetting, I'm fine with it for now. And so I don't mind using badger brushes. Badgers are actually killed during the process of making badger brushes. However, in China over there, they use the whole part of the animal. And so I kind of think if you're going to object to that, then you need to object to cows and chickens being used for food and products as well. The horses are just trying to trimmed, and so we can harvest their hairs. And this brush is a great testament to how I would enjoy a brush, even if the environmentalists won and we stopped having badger brushes available to us, then this is a very enjoyable brush, and it's got some neat qualities that are almost some qualities coming from the badger side of things and some qualities coming from the boar side of things. All right, so I have loaded up the Pella blade already. Now it's got some uses on it. Half a dozen, I can't remember. 3, I can't remember. Now I like this scent, but unfortunately the shaving world is full of so many different scent options, and I don't really know where I'm going to land on, some of these. And so I can't keep every scent that I like. I can't do that. There are just too many scents out there. And so I kind of have to just keep scents that I love. And so I'm going to scoop this one. It'll make it easier for someone to purchase. There are a few people out there who like to purchase scooped soaps instead of, when they buy secondhand, instead of ones loaded from the brush. And so it's a great time to go ahead and just scoop it, just in case this is one that I don't end up keeping around. Because, like I said, there are too many soaps to keep the good ones. You kind of just have to keep the great ones. You have to keep your all-time favorites. I mean, practically speaking. Of course, you could hoard them and never use them, but I mean, I don't want to do that. Pressing, this is how you treat samples as well. Quarter teaspoon is what this measure is, and I think it's a great measure to start out with most soaps. There are a few that need more than a quarter teaspoon. Holy cow, some of their bases need the full quarter teaspoon. Most need less than this. Chiseled Face, the Silk Tallow version, needs about 3 of these per one shave. It is ridiculous. And there may be one other soap that kind of needs more than this. It's almost got an aquatic nature that's kind of coming up to me right now as I'm spreading it around. And that'll be plenty of soap to enjoy for today's shave. All right, get my face wet. I'm going off of a day and a half of growth, so it is a little bit more than usual. And I need to get my shave jigger all filled up with 40 milliliters of water. Am I going to use 40? Almost never. But if I start off with 40, I can do the subtraction at the end of the shave and know how much water I used. Be able to tell you guys, put it in the description in case somebody's having a lot of lather trouble, and then at least they have some figures that may help them to be a baseline, to a place to start. Because when you just say add enough water till it's right to a newbie, how do they know it's right? They don't. So I try to give some objective type things, and that is another reason why I shake my brushes out before I load the soaps, before I start mixing up this right here. You can shortcut your lathers by just leaving some water in your brush sometimes instead of doing a bunch of shaking. Now I'm going to do a bunch of shaking because the more water I get out of here, the more objective the measurements that I give you at the end of the shave are. Now take a look at this. This just hasn't flared up. It's not very dense when compared to the Badger and many bore brushes. And so it's just quite literally a different animal, literally and figuratively. What I've discovered with this horse brush, and I haven't used it in several months, is that the tips to the middle, this zone here, very supple, moves around, very easy to flex. And the reason I think that this is classified as an extra soft is because Zenith put more of maybe the mane hairs in it. You got the mane hairs and you got the tail hairs. Mane up by the head on the neck, top of the neck there, and then the tail is another set of hair, and there are different types. And by mixing the percentages of those types, they're able to govern. I think the tail hairs are the more firm. I could be wrong. I could be mixing it up. But one of them is a little bit more firm, and one of them is more soft. And so by changing those ratios, they can give us soft horsehair brushes and firm, scratchy horsehair brushes. There are definitely a lot of horsehair brushes out there that are scritchy, and if you just want to grind on your face, then they are some of the best out there, and they are not comfortable, and for me, not enjoyable at all. This one, however, does have a little bit of prickle, but I think it's not very much, and I do enjoy this feeling of display. There's lots of room between the bristles because it's not super dense. And so I enjoy that part about it. Good flow through of the lather. And then the core of the knot back here is kind of like a boar brush where it's got some more backbone. It is similar to a boar in that these tips will allegedly eventually split, but it takes a lot longer than a boar brush does. Now, while I work on this lather, let me show you. This has now had 10 treatments. of the hair dryer technique that I showed on this channel 10 weeks ago. I don't know how long ago it was. And it seems to look a lot different. Seems to have a lot more tips. It seems to have a lot more a fuzzier appearance to it. And I think having more splits in there is what's contributing, is what's making that happen. And so I believe that I wanted to try it after 10 treatments with the hairdryer. The heat that I chose for the hairdryer is warm, and I chose a high speed. And then I would strop it with a towel intermittently to kind of to unclump the bristles there, to help them to dry and be open to the dryer. Now, even the switching back to horse brushes, even the horse brushes that are prickly, I think one of the things that people do with those to help them to be more kind to their faces is they don't do the scrubbing motion like this. They stick with more painting motion. And so then those tips aren't really ever kind of changing direction right on your face. They're changing direction off the face. And so thereby you're not experiencing that prickle. We are looking at a very good lather here. I believe the brush was holding on to some water there, and so I haven't had to add too much water. So far, we've got maybe 17 milliliters added in, and that's almost average for a Stirling load, and this looks like plenty to get the job done today. Looks great. This is the beef tallow from Stirling. I'm going to be using Glastonbury in the next day or two, and that is the mutton tallow, slightly different base. Almost everybody believes that the mutton tallow is a higher performance base, creamier, slicker, that sort of thing. I'm in that camp as well. All right, let me get my face wet. We'll put that lather on. Now, if you feel like your lather might be a little too wet, then me splashing water on my face right now could be followed by a couple of dabs with a towel, and that will help to de-wet the lather just a bit. But what I did just now was to kind of refresh the water in my stubble so that it continues to may help it to be softer and ready to cut, that sort of thing. All right, so here we go. Horse brush. Nice, comfortable, easy splay on that part toward the tip that I told you about. It is a type of bristle that, like the boar, feels very different when it's dry. It feels very stiff. Boar brushes are worse. They really feel like stiff brooms when they are, many times they do, when they are dry. But this horse gets more floppy than most boars do once it gets wet. This lather is just terrific. Very hydrated. The brush is working really well with it. Feels luxurious. Working it in my face now. I don't just paint it on. That's a common misconception that some face lathers have. Talk about a brush that they have purchased, maybe an expensive one from some vendor, right? Hand-tied knot and all that stuff, and they don't want to bowl lather because they think that as I add a few drops of water to my brush, they think that if you're a bowl lather, then you're not spending very much time with your brush on your face. But you can see what I'm doing. I'm probably going on 5 minutes now, enjoying the brush on my face. I think I spend more time than some face lathers. So I think that's kind of a myth, or at least, at the very least, it's a choice. You don't have to. You can just paint it on if you want, but I think that's gives you a little bit less in terms of performance, and then of course you get less in terms of the experience of enjoying your brush. This is a very wet lather. It's also got some creaminess to it, lots of creaminess here. I would definitely consider adding more water, but you know what? If I leave my face after the pass is done, I give it a good rinse, a good wetness after this pass is cleaned up, and I bring this same lather to it, I think it'll land perfectly. So I'll do that. I won't add more water right now. And now, thanks to Mr. Michael Friedberg, we'll be able to try out this wonderful razor. I can highly recommend it. I've shaved with it several times now with the Chinese Schick blades. They are in the yellow packaging, and they come to maybe 10 or 7 per little unit. Where did mine go? Is this it right here? Yeah. Looks just like this, and it's in a yellow package, and exceptional shave. This one and some of the other models come with 2 other base plates. This is the mid-range one. I haven't even tried the more aggressive one and the less aggressive one. I wouldn't feel shafted as if this is the only one I ever got. Michael said I should try, in one of the comments in a recent shave, he said I should try the mild one to see if it would be a good daily shaver. But honestly, this one for me is a perfect daily shaver. So comfortable, never any irritation, and excellent efficiency. And so I'm going to try the mild one. I'm going to try the more aggressive one, but man, this one makes me so happy that even if I paid full price for this razor and I only got the middle range plate, I would probably consider it just fine and very enjoyable and very worth it. You know what? The only thing that I don't like about this razor is kind of the tapered handle. It just doesn't vibe with me. Now, as I'm holding it like this, it's very ergonomic. Because of the taper, it's not slipping out of my hand. The taper keeps it kind of anchored in my hand. Now, if you were to do it upside down, then you've got to worry about kind of squeezing and working against the taper. But that's not how most people shave. And so it is actually a very useful design, very ergonomic in that sense. And the squareness of the handle here, these flat sides, let you always know which way your blade is facing. It's very easy to index the razor. All right. We have given my face enough time. Oh, now this is interesting. This does not feel as efficient. Of course, we could get, after the fact, I will go, maybe even during the video, I will go and look up what the count number is on this razor blade. It may be 12, you know. And so I might need to, for a good comparison with the Pella blades, I might have to whip out a new one. Because this is giving me the impression, it's giving a very light tugging sensation. It's giving me the impression that it's leaving behind a good bit of stubble. So it looks like, for me at least, the Chinese Schick is the preferred blade. But got to compare. Oh, getting some tugging there. I mean, nothing a man can't handle, or somebody with fortitude. I got to kind of need to stop. That's kind of sexist, you know, nothing a man can't handle. Now, in this sense, it's kind of true, because this is the kind of shaving that typically men do. And so I don't think it's necessarily being sexist to go with the vast majority. but you know, a person with fortitude and internal strength. Let's just say that. There are definitely plenty of ladies out there with tons of fortitude and internal strength and ability to endure all manner of horrible things. Many ladies out there have wonderful character and should be admired. All right. Yeah, boy, I can just see the leftover stubble. My curiosity is getting the better of me. When I pause you, I'm going to go check the amount of shaves this blade has had. This Pella blade has only had 4 uses. I guarantee you that maybe 2 of those uses was with this little guy, and it performed very well. There is another injector that is more modern looking. As a matter of fact, it kind of shares visual traits with this one, and it's kind of plastic here, and I think it may be metallic on the back. It's one of the Schick injectors as well as this one is, but this one did a much better job. I think I tried it on the dial adjustable Schick that I have, and yeah, I don't remember it doing very well. That is interesting. So if I only had these 2 blades to base my shaves off of, the Chinese Schick beats the heck out of the Ted Pella blades. These were purchased from Maggard Razors, and the Schicks were purchased from Amazon. You know, you can get a good deal if you buy these Chinese Schicks in quantity sometimes, or if you just happen to look upon a good deal. So I will definitely have to, I may just pitch this blade, or I need to annotate it somewhere, and then pull out a new Pella blade to try in this razor and see if it yields us the same result. Now, what's going to happen here? I've got lots of stubble left. It didn't do a great job of cutting on the first pass. This is opposite to what the Chinese Schick did. And so let's see what happens. Does it recover in the second and third passes? We'll see. All right, I've gotten myself all half rinsed off. So let's splash just a little bit more water. We've still got tons of slickness on my face because of the just kind of natural slickness of this soap and its ability to give me some secondary slickness on my face. This brush being very kind to my skin. I don't know if the horse would split with a hair dryer treatment like I'm going to put my boars through. I would be less likely to try it because this is my only horse brush, and these guys are not cheap. They're not super expensive either, not as much as many badgers, but they are not like a boar. They're not $10 or $12 like a boar brush. Okay, let's continue on, my brave friends, with the Ted Pella in the medium aggression plate. It's not quite officially the 1.0 version of the Supply single edge injector here, but it's the one they released just before the 1.0 came out for people to evaluate, and that's why the wonderful Mr. Friedberg had it. Again, we got some tugging here. Not enjoyable. And you're talking to a guy who has learned to tolerate some tugging using a blade for 450 times. I am familiar with tugging. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch this little injector blade over to the one that I've used with it successfully and see if there's a difference. So first and second pass done with the Supply Injector version 1.0 virtually with a medium plate. Just to kind of give you some supply info, there is a little bit of a uniqueness with this razor. You don't see a lot of razors, Injector or otherwise, with a little bolt in it. It's a simple design. It's not super beautiful, but it's straightforward and it works well. It also enables you to change out plates midstream without having to do any fancy insertion of the key and then shoving the blade through and that kind of thing. So this is the Pella blade. Oh, I might have to get my etcher out and label that blade so that I can tell what it is in case I forget to put an index card around it or something like that. Okay, so the supply injector is going to take a back seat for science. We are going to see if this Schick injector handles somehow. It's got to be just the geometry, right? Now, can I take this injector blade and shove it in? No way, no way. I have to, you have to kind of play with it a little bit. And now's a great time to show you. I'm going to clean this off. These blades are thicker than double-edged blades. And so you don't have to be quite as careful and ginger with them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert it back into my injector here. There we go. And then it's being a little harder than it needs to be. I've done this many times before and it was usually easier than that. All right. And we just stick the key in the only side. You can't get it wrong because the hole is not big enough over here on this side. And then we use the little guy, slide it over, make sure we've only got one blade that's going in. Yep. Slide it the rest of the way. That's all there is to it, right? So it was worth a little bit to get that guy in. And then we'll look at it visually just to confirm there are two stays right here on in the corners, and the blade is up against those stays and it's being clamped down properly. So let us reapply lather and see if we get a different result now. We've got a nice wet lather here, so just go ahead and put it on. Glad that Stirling gave us a plentiful amount of lather. And so now the injector is what we reach for. Can't remember which type this is. I haven't memorized the letters. M1, L1, that kind of thing. I'm almost sure it's not an L. I think it may be in the M series, but I'm not sure. Let's just kind of start over. Now I don't get any pulling sensation from this guy. And I do kind of feel him cutting. Wouldn't that be funny? If this razor just had the right geometry for this particular blade. How about that, huh? Now, a friend of mine had a list of the different vintage injectors and where they were in terms of aggression. I'm going to try to find that. I don't know if this one was listed on there, but that could have something to do with it as well. It could be that if I took the supply and gave it the more aggressive plate, it might be able to handle this razor at its current state, this blade here. All right, well, there we go. That was comfortable. I also felt like it was cutting more. We'll see. Well, it didn't do a magical job of cutting. It didn't come in and just clean everything up wonderfully. So we're going to do a cross grain pass now, and I think that'll answer our questions, or at least answer some of them. It'll answer whether this can rescue with now a fifth use Pella Personna blade. Can this rescue what the supply injector could not? This is a very light and nimble razor compared to the supply. This one is also very inexpensive. I've seen eBay where you can buy 5 of these for 20 bucks. Or for that same 20 bucks, you could get some double-edged vintage Gillettes and a couple of different injectors. So if you just watch, you'll see those come online. And it's a great way to have kind of a vintage collection with very little money. But if you want to buy just one by itself, a lot of times people think because they're old, that means they're valuable. And so it's about any time you can get one of these guys for $25. But I think you're greatly overpaying unless it's mint condition or something like that. All right, well, that was comfortable. I didn't really feel any tugging. And that was much better in terms of shaving closely. Now, there's still a good amount of stubble left on my face, at least small amounts of it, and I can feel it. However, visually, my shave is presentable now. I could go to work, and very few people would have any problems at all. But I've got the lather. I have plenty of lather now, and this will be my 5th pass. But, this is for science, right? This brush is nice and soft. I'm enjoying it. I had somebody comment on a horse brush video, this very one, a while back, and they were asking me about the status of it, and I had to report, man, I'm sorry, but I've got so many brushes that I enjoy. I haven't been back to that horse brush in a while, so maybe he will be watching and will enjoy an update. Unfortunately, I haven't used this brush a bunch between now and then. Updates are great when you can say, I've put 30 more uses on it. It's still doing great, when you can do that. But unfortunately, that's not where I am. All right, so this is the 3rd pass with this little guy. Now, what is he? Let me go find out. I believe this is an E model. E. It does have the striations down the side. It's got a curve here. Flat panel in the front there. It does say Schick and Eversharp there. Eversharp Schick in the roundy thing. Gold color here. There are different handle colors out there. I've seen a navy. I've seen kind of a turquoise. And I might end up collecting those. We'll see. Wonderful little razor. Costs so little. And delivers a great shave. All right. So E. I believe this is an E series razor. So we'll go cross grain again, and this is comfortable. So while this razor seems to have rescued the shave and given me a good shave out of a bad one, it does seem like at this age, the Chinese Schicks shave me more efficiently and more comfortably. It's definitely not breezing through the hairs. And so it's lost some of its edge. Now, of course, when you're doing injecting and putting that blade in like you saw me do, if you do something wrong or if you're not being careful, you could drag that blade edge across the stops. And that could, of course, dull the edge. Has that happened with this one? Maybe, I don't know. All right, so there we go. See, now that's a nice, acceptable, close shave. So this guy did what the Supply single edge could not. Am I saying Supply? I think that's right. Check the description in the title of the video. It'll have the name of the razor. I believe it's the Supply, right? All right. When you've got a great lather like Stirling, it's well hydrated. It's not drying out my face at all. I haven't had a lot of concentrate soap exposed to my skin. It's been nourishing lather, hydrated, soapy lather that's on my skin. And so there's no adverse effects. Its protection is high. And so we have had nice slickness go on, and the razor blade is moving across my skin and over it and not scratching at it. And that's the wonderful awesomeness of a good quality soap like Stirling. I'm not paid by any of my Stirling endorsements at all. Matter of fact, I've thought about that. What if I lavish over certain brands so much that they were to say, hey, I'll send you something free? Of course, I love free stuff. On the other hand, I want you guys to always know that I'm bringing you my opinion and it's not influenced by any type of benefit I may be getting. And so I think I'm going to always have to say, no thanks. That may change at some point. And in that case, I will tell you if somebody has given me something for free, like a vendor has given me something of any size for free, except I'm not going to tell you if it's a sample that somebody's thrown in, they do that for everybody. But if it's a free tub of soap or something, I'll tell you so that you can form your own opinion there. All right. Face feels just fine after 5 passes. The Supply single edge did not treat me very well with this blade. However, with the Chinese Schick blade, it is a star. And the Chinese Schick blade that I had, it's got just 3 uses on it. And so it's not very different. It's being a star with virtually the same number of uses that this Pella blade is. So apparently, the Pella blade needs whatever this razor has. Whether it's the right amount of more exposure because the safety bar is lower, I don't know for sure. But whatever it does it comfortably. It doesn't feel more aggressive. I don't feel roughed over. And so I find that very interesting. So what I can do later is I will swap in the future here, and I'll put the Chinese Schick in this guy. I bet he'll shave great. And I'll take a brand new Pella blade, Personna / Pella, and put it in the Supply and see how it does. Well, there we go. That was an interesting bit of result. 18 milliliters of water used. I had easily 5 passes of soap, and I could get at least 1 more pass out of what you see here remaining. Good stuff. Face feels great. It's not drying out. I haven't put on any product. I've even got a little bit of lather laying around my face, and it's not drying out or getting itchy or anything like that. Let's give it a good rinse now. Now, here is what the brush looks like after the fact. Let's see if we can get some more kind of direct light here to give you guys a little bit more. Well, my hands are really... there you go. Oh, there we see. Look, we're getting some reflection of the horsehair. And so that might provide you a little bit more knowledge about what this dark colored brush really looks like. It has a brownness to it. It's not black. The handle is black. In retrospect, I might have wanted to maybe get the handle in white to kind of contrast, but I don't know. This is my Midnight Rider brush or something menacing like that. All right. So this is what he looks like. We do have a few little bristles that are out flaring. He is very now he does feel a little, not really prickly, but you can feel a little bit of firmness in some of the tips, but he bends over and splays very easily. He's enjoyable to work with after the shave like this. So that is the extra soft horse. The words extra soft are important because Zenith has a lot of other horse brushes, horse knots, and the extra soft is a special series, and that does mean that the hair is softer than the others. All right, very good. The scent on this one, I forgot to comment on it. I can still smell it around me, and it has been enjoyable. I could easily use this on a daily basis for a long time, I think. It's not bold and in your face. I can tell there are some kind of aquatic notes in there. That's, if I had to put it in a toward a genre, that's what I'd say. Um, and I do like it quite a bit. I might keep this guy around and just see where he lands. He does not seem to be as light as some of the other cologne-based scents that Stirling has made. So, and I believe that some of the Iniquity for him bits might be available on the Stirling clearance page. I know they were for a long time, like a whole year. It didn't seem like people gravitated toward that one, but I enjoy it. Now there may be other higher manliness ones like Texas on Fire and Port-au-Prince and things like that. But that's very enjoyable, very nice, easy going. I think a lot of people, a lot of your friends and family would enjoy smelling it if you bought the other products. So very good. Well, this just goes to show you in terms of bang for your buck recommendations. This little guy right here, wonderful. You can see I've just finished giving myself a good rinse. And wonderful secondary slickness still on my face after that wonderful Stirling lather. Um, just not a, and it was even several minutes as I was showing you the horse brush. I still had that residue on my face. And so if it was going to dry me out, it would have great quality product. And there are others, Sterling's not the only one, but there are others that are great quality soaps that do that as well. Um, so this little guy, conceivably, you could get him for $5. And now, of course, the Injector blades are not as cheap as DE blades. Um, what was it? Sometimes I think these might be $1 or $2 per blade. And so that is going to be where your cost comes in. You could probably get a better deal by purchasing in quantity, that sort of thing. You can definitely pay more than $1 a blade, more than $2 a blade if you purchase a small quantity at a site that's kind of trying to make money. Instead of someplace like Amazon or Maggard or something like that. They're not trying to rip you off at Maggard. All right. I'm enjoying the scent on me right now. You know what I want to put on? I got Carmichael recently. And so what I'm going to do is put on this Zingari balm because even though it's the Explorer, which citrus, woods, and vetiver is what the scent it's supposed to have, for me, it's pretty much unscented. But it's a great performing balm, but it's just got the lightest hint of scent. So I will use it like a kind of an unscented balm. And the few little notes that do waft up toward my nose are probably going to be the kind that agree with about any cologne I might put on. And so I'll be using the Carmichael cologne from Stirling. I put that on the other day and really enjoyed it. All right, very good. One other little side thing I wanted to tell you, since we're kind of on the Injector thing today, I wanted to show you this, the Ender's Speed Razor, which is kind of an Injector. This is the pack of blades. They are vintage. They're not made anymore. And they fit this kind of razor. It's a very awkward looking thing. But you would just shave with it like that. And this is what the blade looks like. There's only about 7 or 8, 6 or 7 in there. And they have these little arms on the sides. It is a thick blade. It's hard to bend. They're kind of like the Injector blades, and they are thicker than the DE blades. And the reason it's called the Speed Razor, I assume, is because in the back here, you can simply push the blade down like that until it locks and you're ready to go. Well, I used one of these old stock blades and it was crazy rough for me. Very harsh, very aggressive. Maybe I was using it wrong. Maybe I needed to lift the handle out more and ride the cap. So it could just be me, but it was rough. And as I look at it, I could see, we do not have a whole lot of coverage here. We don't come to the edge as we're talking about the top support. And there is no bottom support, just these springs. The springy nature of these little arms is the only thing that's pushing it up against the top part of the razor back there. So I think that's probably why it's so harsh. Now, what I plan to do, and this is a hack recommended by some other folks, is I'm going to grind down the edge of the blade, and it looks like I might have to grind down about 3 or 4 millimeters so that it could be a holder blade, so that I could take an Injector blade, because it's the exact same width, and that the blade that you see here could then press the Injector blade up and lock it in place. That's my hope. That's my little DIY project that I'm going to do someday. But that gives you an idea of what the Ender's Speed Razor looks like with its blades. And also, one of you viewers let me know that somebody took a pattern from the Ender's Speed Razor blade and put some magnets on it and altered it so that it clicks in here. But before it clicks in there, you can take an Injector blade, and the magnets hold the Injector in a certain place in the little apparatus, and it clicks in, and now you can use standard Injector blades with the Ender's Speed Razor. It had a little bit of a price tag on it, so it definitely wasn't an instant buy on my part. And it looked a little clunky because it's got 2 little magnets kind of welded on the bottom of it. But it's a neat proof of concept, and it could deliver the quality of shave that some people are really looking for. All right, so that's a little side jaunt into the Ender's Speed Razor that I may bring to life someday. Wonderful, wonderful. Face feels great. The brush was terrific today. Only just a hint of prickle, just really not very much at all. Really. Mostly what I felt was that comfort of the easy splay of those kind of generous tips, the bristles as they gave readily as I was working it on my face. The soap smelled great. The lather was pretty much perfect. You could probably see that. And the supply did not handle the Pella blade very well at all. The Schick came in and rescued it. And to me, that says that the blade wasn't necessarily roughed up too much, and that it just wasn't made for the supply. It's just they're not a good match. Neither is bad, it's just not a good match. So what we'll do in the future here is we'll put in this supply, we'll put a brand new Pella blade, see if we get a different experience. Pella equals Personna. And then we'll also take the Chinese Schick blade and put it in the E-series here and see what that gives us. Could that create a monster and have something a little too aggressive? We'll see. It could be that the Pella, being maybe a smoother, less sharp blade, is a great match for this, because what if this is more aggressive razor head right here than the supply. And so then if the supply is more medium, then it is maybe a better user of the Chinese Schick. And then the Pella being more smooth is kind of the weakness and the weakness both coming together right here. And so as long as you have, this is just possibility, as long as you have a smooth blade in this razor or a sharp blade, relatively speaking, in this razor, that's the great combination where both of them work really well together that way. But if you swap those blades, then maybe you'll have too sharp in aggression and then too mild in too smooth kind of thing. And who knows? Just a theory. Just a theory. Shave nerds talking. Need a little sign on the, baby on board, shave nerds talking. A little sign for the back of the car. All right, well, there we go. Wonderful little sciencey kind of playground shave today. I hope that you guys got something out of it. I hope it helps you in your shave journey. And yes, in the future, we will have a tour de injectors. I've been collecting them over the past few months. They're inexpensive to collect as long as you keep an eye on a good deal. And I'll be bringing those to you. All right, now, this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Take care. Have a good day.